This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we started with the Spring Framework, and the main use of going with Spring is to develop robust web and enterprise applications, and that too rapidly and easily. And we have seen one Spring application where we have created a bean class, book, and a library class. In that library, we have injected books here. So whenever we create bean classes, we create objects using Spring Bean XML configuration file. We create objects using what? Spring Bean XML configuration file. And finally, we have created one test class. Now, today, let us move to the next module. A very, very important module, that is Spring DAO module. So what is this DAO is? DAO stands for Data Access Object. DAO stands for what? Data Access Object. The main thing of DAO is like DAO is a class or interface. DAO is what? It can be a class or interface with set of methods used to operate a database. So it goes with what? It comes with some set of methods mainly to operate what? Database, the CRUD operations. We generally go with CRUD operations here. Now, under this DAO module, it goes with three sub-modules, that is Spring JDBC module, Spring ORM module, where we integrate with Hibernate, and Spring Data JPA module. Module. Today we'll be going with Spring JDBC module. Today we'll discuss Spring JDBC module. Now, if you remember plain JDBC, so when you go with the plain JDBC, what are the steps in plain JDBC? What are the steps?
Driver first.
Right. Load the driver class, then establish connection, right? And we have to keep the code in try and catch block. So handle exceptions. We have to handle exceptions, then load the driver class, establish the connection, create statement, execute statement, close statement, and close connection, right? So these many steps we do when you go with the plain JDBC. So when we go with the plain JDBC, what are the steps here? We handle the exceptions, we load the driver class, establish connection, create statement, execute. Out of all these things, only this will differ. Based on the requirement, only this will differ. Remaining things are common for us. So the common logic is taken care by your Spring. The common logic is taken care by your Spring, whereas as a programmer, we'll be concentrating only on execute statement. So when you come to this Spring JDBC, the number of steps are simple. Execute statement, that's it. We go with what? Only execute statement. No need to handle exceptions. This driver class and establish connection, we do it in Spring Bean XML file, and you need not worry about closing operations also. All these things are taken care by your Spring. As a programmer, our work is only in the Java code execute statement only. So in that way, a lot of burden is reduced to the developers. Now, how to go with the Spring JDBC? This is the very, very important interview question. How to go with the Spring JDBC? The answer, what we should say? JDBC template class of Spring API. JDBC template class of Spring API means Spring library is used for Spring JDBC. This is the point we should remember for interview time. This is the important question what they asked during interview time. So simple answer, JDBC template class. Now let us understand this with the example application. Create a table student in MySQL. So any table you can create, the steps will remain same. In MySQL, create table student with ID int of 3, comma name varchar of 10, comma age int of 2. Okay. Now let us do this step. Open MySQL. Go with the password. Use Java 08. Now say create table student with ID int of 3, comma name varchar of 10, comma age int of 2. So now the table has been created. Now the next step, as we are going to make use of the module Spring JDBC module, we need to add the project dependencies. Add the following project dependencies in pym.xml file of Spring project. So the dependencies what we need to add is just to copy the previous Spring dependency. Yesterday we have added no Spring context. Just to copy the previous Spring dependency and paste over here and replace this Spring context with the Spring JDBC. Replace what? Spring context with what? Spring JDBC. Then one more dependency, MySQL. As we are connecting to MySQL, we need to add even one more dependency, MySQL. Go with the version, copy this piece of code and paste over here. Two dependencies we are adding. One is Spring JDBC module and one more MySQL connector. These two dependencies we need to add in between dependencies element. So this completes our setup here. Now, so whenever we are going with the application, understand carefully, whenever we are developing an application, we have to make a planning. We do the planning, and that planning we call specifications. We have to specify like what methods are required to operate our database. Like that, we have to make a plan. And the planning is generally done by using interfaces here. Interfaces are mainly for what? Specifications purpose. So here let us create an interface. Create an interface student DAO in com.spring package of src/main/java folder. How we work in reality, I'm explaining. Now Spring project. We have to make a plan first. And generally these interfaces are created by your team leaders or project leaders. Generally, these interfaces are created by whom? Team leaders or project leaders, not mandatory. It depends on the company. Okay. So planning is generally done by the leaders here. Now, create this interface. Right click on com.spring package and say new interface student DAO. Here we go with the list of methods mainly used to operate database. So the methods are like public void insert student, which takes the arguments like ID, name, and age. ID, name, and age. So what are the arguments we pass to this insert student method? These values we want to insert into student table. That's the role of student insert student method. The next method, public void update student. To provide the ID, we want to change the age. Public void delete student. To provide the ID, that particular record we want to delete. Public list map string comma object list students. When you call the method list students, it should return the list of records of student table. So these are the CRUD operations. So just we make a plan over here, and generally this planning is done by your project leaders or team leaders. Now, once we create the interface, we have to implement the interface, and that implementation is done by generally the team members. So as a team member, we have to create the class like this. Create a Spring Bean class student DAO IMPL. See the terminologies, see the standards we follow here. Here, when I say when the class or interface is going with the database operation methods, we have to end like this DAO. It's not syntax rules. These are the standards we follow in the companies while creating projects. So when I see the word DAO, that indicates it goes with some methods mainly used to operate database. Once we create interface, we have to implement that interface. How the name should be? Same name. Whatever the name we have taken interface name, same name we have to take and end with IMPL. Whatever the words I am saying, these are not syntax rules. Standards we follow in the projects. Right? So IMPL indicates this is the implementation class of this interface. That indication you are providing here. Student DAO IMPL. Let us do this. Right click on com.spring and it's a new class student DAO IMPL. Now what we do as a team member, we make this class implements student DAO and see we get error. Now what I do as a programmer, we keep mouse pointer on this error and we click here, add and implemented methods. Then the methods will come in front of you. As a programmer, I should just write the code inside these methods based on the documentation given. So like that we work in reality. Clear all of you up to here? Any questions? Anyone, any questions?
No.
Right. No. Before we write the code inside these methods, then what is the class used for Spring JDBC? Which class we use for Spring JDBC?
Connection.
No, Spring JDBC. Which class we use for Spring JDBC?
Class. JDBC template.
This is important.
Yeah.
JDBC template class we have to use. So here in our bean class, we have to go with the property JDBC template. We have to make use of what property here? JDBC template. Import the package. Now we have to give value to this property. So let me go with setter injection. So public void set JDBC template, which takes argument JDBC template. Now here we'll say this dot JDBC template equal to JDBC template. So we are using setter injection to give the value to the property. Now let us inject this property first into the bean class. After that, we'll write the code inside the methods. So for that, we have to create the XML file. So the next important step, create Spring Bean XML configuration file. I'm going with the name jdbc.xml, any name, in src/main/java folder. Let us do this file. Right click on src/main/java and say new other XML file. Go with the name jdbc.xml, any name. Take the template, Spring Bean XML configuration template. The root tag is beans. Paste the template here. Now start doing the configuration. So we start like this. Bean ID equal to student, which when I refer to the ID student in the test class, it returns object of class com.spring.studentDAO IMPL. In the test class, when you refer to this ID student, it returns object of which class? StudentDAO IMPL. In StudentDAO IMPL, how many properties we are having? One property. And how we are giving value to property? Setter injection. Then we have to use what element here? Property. Property name equal to, what is the name of the property? JDBC template, and we'll say reference JDBC template. Now, for every reference, we have to create a bean here. Bean ID equal to should match with this reference name, JDBC template. And this property JDBC template, it's an object of which class? JDBC template class. This property JDBC template, it's an object of which class? JDBC template class belongs to this package. Copy this package and paste over here. Under JDBC template class, it goes with a property. It goes with a property name data source. Reference data source. Now create a bean ID data source. Then this property data source, it's an object of class driver manager data source. It's an object of its class driver manager data source. And this driver manager data source belongs to the package org.spring framework .jdbc.data source. In this driver manager data source class, it goes with 4 connection properties like this. Property name, driver class name. What is a driver class name? Value com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. Connection properties anywhere we have to use it. Property name, URL, value, JDBC : MySQL : / localhost : 3306 / Java 08, our database name. Next property name, username, value root. Next property name, password, value root. That's it. Here we are getting database connections. So with this, it completes our XML file. Clear with this XML file? Just understand, that's it. No need to mug up. No one will ask you to write the code in front of them without seeing. Okay, no one will ask you all these codes. Okay, you have to keep all the documents handy with you. when the project comes, we have to use it. Right? Now, when you refer to the bean ID student, it returns object of student DAO MPL, which injects this JDBC template. Now JDBC template is ready with the database connection. Now write the code inside these methods. So come to insert student. What is the command? To insert into student, the SQL command, values, question marks. Now we want to execute this SQL command. So in Spring JDBC, what I said, only execute. Only we work with execute here. So just to say JDBC template.update. Just to call the method JDBC template.update. Pass your SQL command and the question marks you replace with your argument values. So just to call this method JDBC template.update using this property, call the method update, pass your SQL command and replace these question marks with your argument values. So these argument values will go and store into this question marks. That's it. This insert command will get executed and the record will get inserted. Then go with the message student inserted. Come to update. Coming to update, string SQL. What is the command to update? Update student, set age equal to question mark, where ID equal to question mark. For this ID, I want to change the age. Now, call the method JDBC template.update. Pass your SQL command. First question mark should go with your age value, second one with ID value. This first question mark should replace with your age argument value, second question mark with ID argument value. Then go with the message student updated. Delete student. String SQL equal to delete from student where ID equal to question mark. Say JDBC template.update. Pass your SQL command with your ID. That's it. With the message student deleted. See how fast we are able to do the CRUD operations now. Now coming to this list employees, so we'll say here string SQL equal to select star from student. Then say return JDBC template dot query for list. We are having a method query for list. Pass your SQL command. No, see here. So we are having the method see JDBC template dot query for list and pass your SQL. So the return type see the return type of query for list is list map string comma object. Now let me elaborate this return type. Let me elaborate this return type now. See here. When you go with the command, understand here. When you go with the command, select star from books. It's going to display what? List of books. When we use the command select star from books, it's going to return the list of books. So list here. List. Then how the list is seen? These are column headings and these are records. The column headings acts like keys. The records acts like values. The column headings are what? Keys. The records are values. So to manage key value pair in Java, what we use? Map. Then the keys are of what type? Keys are of what type? String type. The column names are string type. But what about values? We don't know what values we store. So any type we can manage with object. So this is the explanation of return type. No. That's it. No. That completes our the bean class. Anyone any questions?
Here the object is student, right?
Yes, the object is student. Where is the object here?
Uh,
Where is the object student here?
Student is a
I'm
table.
not going with any. It's a table name. I'm not going with any ORM here. It's a JDBC. JDBC does not play with objects. We play with the table names only. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Tomorrow we go with the objects. Okay. Tomorrow we play with the class names. Today SQL commands, because JDBC is SQL only. All these are your SQL commands only. Got it?
Okay.
Right. Now the final step, test class. Create a test class, JDBC test in com.spring package. This we need to run. Right click on com.spring and say new class JDBC test with main method. What is our first step? We need to load our Spring Bean XML configuration file. How to load Spring Bean XML configuration file? By using the interface application context. The context equal to new class path XML application context. To the constructor of this, we pass our XML file. So this will load our XML file. Import the packages. Now get the bin. So say here student DAO equal to call the method context.getBean. What is the bean ID? Student. So when you say your context.getBean student, it will go to this jdbc.xml, sees the bean ID student, returns object of student DAO IMPL by injecting this JDBC template with the database connection. Okay, so that reference is given to student DAO. Now, go with typecasting. Now call the methods. Just calling the methods here. DAO.insert student, pass the data 111, the name and age. Now see, when we run, we get the message student inserted. And if you check your table, select start from student, record has been inserted. Now let us go with update. DAO.update student, pass the ID, and for this I want to change the age to 22. Previous age is 20, now I want to make it 22 for this ID 111. So when we run, we get the message student updated, and if you check your table, for ID 111, the age has been updated to 22. Next one. DAO.delete student with ID 111. When you run, we get message student deleted, and if you check your table, there are no records in the table. Let us insert the records. Insert into student values 111, the name and age. 222, the name and age. 333, the name and age. So we are in totally 3 records in the table. Now let us display the records. So for that, let's say like this: list map string comma object, list map string comma object, student list equal to call the method DAO.listStudents. When you call the method DAO.listStudents, it connects to the table, pull out all these records from the table and stores into this student list. So this student list It's what type? List type. And in this student list, what is type here? Map. It's of what type? Map type here, like list string, list student, list employee. Here it's of what type? Map type. Now traverse your student list for what is student list is what type? Map type. So map stud colon student list. What will happen? It is going to pull out one record. In student list, it contains 3 records. Now when I say map stud student list, the first record will come and store into this stud. Now display that. How to display? stud.get of id. What is this? In map, because stud is what type? Map type. In map, we are having what method? Get. To the get method, if you pass the key, it is going to return value. See here. In this one, these are your keys. These are your keys and these are your values. So when you say get of id, when you say get of id, id is what? Key. So what is the value? This one. This 111 will be returned. Like that, the loop repeats for 3 times. When you say again get of id, it is going to pull out second thing. Get of name, these values. Get of age, these values. So in the map, we are having get method. In map, we are having get method. To the get method, if you pass the case, which are acting like case, your column headings are your case. So if you pass the case, it's going to return the value. So close some space between values and say stud dot get of name space between the values stud dot get of age. That's it. This for loop will repeat depends on the number of records present in table. Every one record will get displayed here. Now, so when we run, it's going to display the list of records on our console. Clear? Any questions? Right? So please practice this compulsory, very important one. You need to practice this. If you practice only, you will understand what is happening. Frameworks means just listening to the class will not work out. If you practice on your system only, you'll be knowing what type of mistakes you are doing and you can improve your skills.
If we compare DAO, Spring DAO with JDBC, they are like almost similar, except that we are not maintaining that connections and overheads.
Right.
Otherwise, the
Yeah.
implementation is like the queries and everything is like more or less same.
Everything is same. Everything that won't change. The queries, everything will remain same. Only the connection part, closing operations, handling exceptions, all these things are taken care by your Spring. And what are the objects you are creating? You need not worry about. What? Make it ready for garbage collection. So the objects, whatever we use in our program, these all things are taken care by your Spring to remove that objects once the requirement is done. Right?
So will these transactions be auto committed?
Auto committed only.
Okay.
Right? So please practice this. And tomorrow, let us go with
Sir,
one more. Yeah, please.
sir, is creating interface a compulsion, a mandatory, like can't
Nothing.
implement
It's
directly?
only the good practices. That's it. Even without creating this interface, I can even write the code here, right?
Yes.
So we before we construct a building, do we make a plan?
Yes.
The same thing. That is the meaning of interface here. Nothing else. Got it? It's like a planning. So if you are not doing proper planning, we may not get the proper results. So somewhere you may miss out some requirement. So it's like a planning thing. It's like a prototype. You can say like a prototype. It's like a blueprint, and this is your actual implementation. Clear now? The need of interfaces,
Okay. Yes.
right? So in reality, we have to do the planning, proper planning we have to do. If you are not doing proper planning and directly if you are going with the implementation, we may do some mistakes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So
But
the division of
yes, in practical, like I have seen in office project, like developers writing interface compulsorily, even like if it's just single implementation of all the most of the 99% of the interface are implemented just by a single class, not multiple. But everywhere interface is being written, so it's become like compulsion, and the code has become bulky. So is this a good
yeah,
practice? Like
it's a good practice. That's it. It's a good practice. Like this will taken care by the planning team, and this is taken care by the implementation team.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a
What
kind of
method names are
separation.
required? Yeah, what method names
Yeah.
are required for our project? If they are trying to identify the method names here. Right? Okay, it's a good practice. Like planning is always required, right? If you are not doing proper planning, then there may be a chance of getting wrong results. So when you do proper planning using interfaces, then there won't be any problem. So there will be some people who will be taking care of work of interfaces only, and the developers will try to implement the interfaces. Got it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So when we
So
change from
developer
MySQL to other database, we need to change the XML file here and
XML file we may require, and you may
depend.
require even to change these SQL commands also, right?
Yeah,
So that is a drawback of JDBC. Agree?
yeah.
So that's the reason we are going with ORM frameworks like Hibernate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
have
JDBC
another
only.
question about another yesterday's class.
Hmm.
Shall I ask now, or you
Yeah, please,
want?
you can ask. You can always ask. Yeah, you're in
Uh,
time.
in Spring, do we have a inheritance concept?
Inheritance concept means what here over here?
Yesterday you said like you created a library and books. Usually when we do that in core Java, we say that library is a parent class and books is a, subclass of
Yes.
that. Like that we do.
No,
Uh,
no, no. You are not at all followed the object oriented. So when you take class library,
mhm.
when you take class book, how they are related? What is the
Library
relation
has
between
books.
these two?
Oh,
What is the
has.
relation between
Yeah,
is a
has.
or as a?
Has.
As a. That's the reason we have made this book as a property over here. Got it?
Okay.
We have used it as a relationship in this example.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it depends. It may go with anything, any type of code you can write here. Any type of code we can write here. So you can say vehicle, car extends vehicle, no problem. Saving account extends account.
So we can
So
do that
whatever
in
code
Spring, or we will do it.
yeah, whatever we have done is it's a inheritance only, right? I'm doing inheritance only here.
Yeah. Yesterday when you wrote two classes,
Hmm.
uh, you make it loosely coupled, not tightly coupled, right? The main
Right, right. So if I'm creating object here like this, new books equal to new array list. When I'm doing like this, then it will go with the tightly coupled. So I using new is not correct. So I have to give the value to this property using setter method or constructor. Then it will become loosely coupled. So using new keyword is not at all suggested. Not only Spring, even simple Java code also creating objects like this is not at all good.
okay.
Okay. Either you should create objects in the constructor or setter method. In the constructor or setter, we have to create outside and pass it. We have to create outside the objects. In the test class, we have to create object and pass it. That's the correct way of writing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we'll go with the next module, Spring ORM module where we integrate with Hibernate. Thank you all. Thank you very much.